look at not just where you want to be in 1 year, but ultimately, where do you want to be in 4 to 5 years? So, depending on where you are in your business or in your career, 4 to 5 years could be that, yeah, I want to be selling my business in 5 years. I want to be, X number of dollars in revenue. I want to have maybe a certain number of people on my team. There could be larger goals that you need to have in your head. Hi, and welcome to Accounting with Confidence. I'm your host, Beth Whitworth, and today I'm going to bring you a short episode, the ones that we call confidence boosters. So today's topic for the confidence booster is why planning is important. So as we're recording this, we're nearing year end, and this is the time of year that we spend a lot of time with our clients, maybe even with ourselves, in deciding what types of things we want to happen next year. And I usually work with my clients in October and November relating to budgeting activities. How are you going to spend your money? How are you going to make your money? All of those things. And one of the things that happens is there are usually very divided camps. There's the people who say, yep, I subscribe to the planning. I do all the things. I make it happen. And then people who say, I don't need a plan. And today I'm going to talk to those people who think they don't need a plan. I'm going to talk to you about why planning is important. So most of us have heard the statement in some version that is, you will miss 100% of the targets that you don't set. If you don't set a target, how do you know that you're even going to get there? You haven't put it out there. So for my experience and what I do with my clients is to look at not just where you want to be in 1 year, but ultimately, where do you want to be in 4 to 5 years? So depending on where you are in your business or in your career, 4 to 5 years could be that, yeah, I want to be selling my business in 5 years. I want to be, X number of dollars in revenue. I want to have maybe a certain number of people on my team. There could be larger goals that you need to have in your head. Because if your goal is to sell your company in 5 years, there's stuff you need to be working on right now. And that means you have to do some planning. You can't get to that goal of selling your business, and maybe it's selling your business for a certain amount of money, without backtracking into, what do I need to do right now to reach that goal in 5 years? But the typical kind of schedule of planning is that you're at least scheduling and planning for the next 12 months. Most people work on some sort of a calendar year. And by doing that, it allows you to focus on what's important and what you need to do to get to your goals. The other reason to do the planning is it reduces anxiety around what to do next. If you create a plan, you know what you should be doing next. So because a lot of people get really anxious about, okay, well, I've gotten to this point, now what? And if you have a plan and it's for an extended period of time, that plan is going to help you get there. Now, it doesn't mean that the plan that you set now for next year, or even the plan that you set now as to what you want to do in 4 to 5 years, that's not set in stone. You look at it and you need to revisit it a lot. You aren't going to sit there and just say, okay, I'm going to look at it once a year when I do strategic planning in the third week of November. No, it's a ever evolving piece of your business. So you need to be looking at it. You need to be doing things to kind of be able to track where you are on those things and touch it frequently. The things that I'm working on right now, as far as types of planning, I mentioned budgets. So that is something that I believe every business should have. You should be setting a revenue goal and the backup of how you think you're going to get to that revenue goal. Are you just going to do a price increase on your service work? Are you going to be adding a new line of business? How are you going to get there? Maybe it's a certain number of clients that you're going to add to your client base. So you need a revenue number budgeted by month, and then also your expenses. You've got some stuff that's probably fixed. You've got some stuff that's variable, and you need to make some decisions on how you want to spend your money. And budgets are designed to be a guideline. And it is something that when you're over or under budget, you have a variance that needs to be explained. Budgets are not the fluid part of any planning. To me, a budget is set, it's agreed upon, and then if you end up over or under budget, you need to explain why. How did that happen? I am not a proponent for somebody who says, well, I went over, so I'm going to change the budget number. That is not really how the budget process works, and I don't recommend that. The other areas of planning that you should be working on right now are your goals. Your business goals and personal goals. So we're back to that. You're going to miss 100% of the targets that you don't set. So if you have a goal for reaching a certain level of revenue, you need to be figuring out how are you going to get there and making the plan. If you have a personal goal of maybe, getting to the gym a certain number of days in a week, or taking a vacation or whatever, you've got some personal goals. Maybe it's saving some money personally. How are you going to track it? How are you going to do it? Make a plan. The other area I feel is important that you should be working on planning right now is what fun are you going to have next year? Yep, fun. So whether it's a family vacation, a girls' trip, maybe you've got somebody in the family that's getting married, maybe you want to plan something that is just, taking the grandkids to the zoo. I don't know. And maybe you need to plan some monthly fun. I don't know, but plan it. Plan it, get it on the calendar. It really will help you be motivated to move forward. I know for me, I did a girls' trip this year with some of my best friends from college. And we've been friends for more than 30 years, but we had never done a girls' trip in this whole time. And we went to Nashville this summer. And before we left Nashville, we picked the week that we are going to get together in 2025 and the location. So we don't have all the details ironed out, but I know that next September, I get to hang out with my girlfriends. And so having that plan and being able to know that there's that fun factor in my 2025 makes some of the other less exciting planning maybe go down a little smoother. So always plan for fun and think about what it is you want to do next year. Maybe it's learning to ski. I don't know, but plan for it. And I will say that one of the things that makes planning easier, whether you're a sole proprietor, maybe you have a small team, maybe you don't have a partner, maybe you do, but find an accountability buddy, somebody that you can kind of sit down with and you plan your goals and you make a plan, they plan theirs, and then you reach out to each other during the year. And maybe it's, once a month, go have lunch, say, okay, how are you doing? And that gives you that touch point so that you don't get so far removed from your plan that, back to that, I'm only going to look at it the third week of November. That won't happen. So find someone, it could be a friend, it could be a family member, it could be somebody else on your team. Maybe you have a leadership team, but somebody you're going to share the goals with, share the plan with, and have them help hold you accountable to getting there. They can also be a great sounding board for, hey, things seem to be maybe not going as planned. And you can talk through maybe things that maybe you can change things inside that plan as you go. It's easier if you have a buddy. And I will say that the more you do it, the easier it gets. So I used to be a reluctant planner, or I'd be one who went through the motions at the beginning of the year. And then they were pretty much kind of forgotten about because you know what happens? Your year starts going, things start going in a direction, and your calendar starts filling up, and you really kind of forget about those plans and goals until you say, oh, well, what about that thing I was planning on doing this year? And before you know it, it's kind of lost. And now that I have actually intentionally spent time planning during the year and then also annually spending a good amount of mental energy creating that plan for what I'm going to do in the coming year, creating some accountability steps so that I have someone who can help hold me accountable. Whatever those things, it has gotten easier. It's easier to keep track of the plan. It's easier to decide, ooh, what do I need to focus on next year? Because I'm constantly in that state of knowing that I have goals. I have goals and ambitions. And I will say that, you know, setting them and reaching them is really, really exhilarating. Setting them and not reaching them is really, really enlightening. So I'm going to tell you, it's important to plan. And I would say get started on what you want to do next year regarding finances, business, personal fun, any of those things now, before you get stuck in all the holidays, before you can get some planning done and find somebody to help hold you accountable. Okay, that's all I've got for this confidence booster. I hope you go out and you do some planning and reach those goals, or at least account for why you didn't reach the goals so you know how to set it next time. Okay, everybody, that's all I have. Bye for now.